What up? Welcome to the Outspoken Network. Say what you mean what you say. As always, I am Quidel.
Marcus.
Rock.
Deuce.
And it is Wild Card Weekend.
Here.
Good. Super Wild Card Weekend.
Super. The regular season is just done, just like that.
Thank God.
Finito.
A lot of speculations and storylines are gone that we don't have to talk about no more. And now we are here where we need to be locked in.
Wish my team's in the playoff.
He wishes another team was in the playoffs, too.
He really do.
Right,
he got
true.
2 teams.
Yeah,
he got 3 teams, really.
Oh, they are in the playoffs?
Yeah, he got his team from last year.
The 49ers.
He got his regular team.
Regular team.
And then he got them Bengals.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Shiesty.
You wait till this recording.
And if you don't know whose team was last year, it was the Niners.
Yeah.
He got the
very
Falcons.
Joe Shiesty was close,
Brock
man.
Purdy, Mr. Relevant.
Joe-
Look what Mr.
All I
Relevant's
know is
doing.
he's
Joe
bad
was
news
close.
for teams.
Y'all was waiting on this, huh?
Of
Is that what it
course.
was?
Of course.
I told you the window's still open.
We
I was
tried
with
to
you.
tell you.
So,
I see the vision.
in the offseason, we'll talk about windows being closed.
I still believe
But
in
right
Joe
now,
Shiesty.
there are
We'll be
people
back
who-
next year.
We got people who got windows open right now. That's who I want to talk about. We want to talk about people who windows.
Oh, that's
could
cold,
possibly-
brother.
Last 2 years, I predicted the Bengals would make playoffs. I just want to throw that out there. Go ahead.
That they wouldn't.
Correct.
Good on you.
That is
I
true.
do what I can.
Good on you.
Okay.
All right, so
Make the Super Bowl last 2 years.
here we go. So, which game do we?
That's
Oh,
very
before we get into the wild card, let's talk about some more coaching changes. Last time we were on here was Monday. Some more moves have happened since then that we haven't been able to talk about. One of them, the main one, the big one, is the firing of Antonio Pierce. Raiders fired him again after 1 year. He's gone, and I sit here again like not a great day for diversity.
I tell you, boy.
No.
It never is.
No,
you know?
it really isn't.
It never is.
It really isn't. Like, it was
And
less
for
surprising
why?
for me. Because
It's
it felt
less
like
surprising.
he lost the locker room. The way that they were talking about the Raiders all season,
Really?
it felt like to me that was more likely of an outcome for him than for Gerard Mayo.
Well, what I'm also hearing is that Mayo lost the locker room too. So what's bothering me is everybody just losing the locker room, and that's what we blame it. It sounds like we are.
It didn't really seem that way to Max Crosby. He felt like he lost a good coach.
Yeah. Hey, look, he's
He
a
lost
Raider
his
for
guy.
life. I mean,
But
if you didn't like the coach, why would you want to keep being
I
a
had
Raider?
the same question for him and the Raiders as I did for the Patriots. Like, what were the expectations?
I thought it was more around Devontae Adams than Max Crosby for me.
I don't get it.
Listen,
But
I think
at the same
Devontae
time, I
Adams.
thought both of them were premature. I do.
Absolutely.
I'm just
Absolutely.
less surprised about AP
Absolutely.
than Mayo. It felt more like from what I was reading, what I was seeing, that was more of a. I don't want to say make or break because you went into the season with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell's your quarterback.
Exactly.
Well,
Like, what was
hold up. To be fair, I had higher expectations of the Raiders.
Only
sure
you.
did.
Only
I
you.
did.
Only you.
I did not have them in the playoffs, but I had them as a team that was going to be on the outside looking in terms of
Unbelievable.
like I thought they would be 8 and 9.
You
That's
thought they were going to
disgusting.
be the Bengals.
That's disgusting.
Okay, not the. Oh well, yeah, yeah. I guess in that instance, it's like, hey, but
That would be the window. That's the proper
yeah,
window.
they just barely didn't make it, but you know,
Outside looking in.
yeah, that's right,
It's okay. Look,
So
Joe Burrow,
you know,
Joe
I
Burrow.
thought,
Triple
but
crown,
but
triple
that
crown.
was you know because they had Devontae, because they drafted Brock Bowers, like
Signed Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, like they had got Christian Wilkins. Like I thought the defense was going to be a little better, which I think it was, but the offense just took a step back.
So you think he underperformed as a head coach?
Yeah, in terms of what my expectations were, but I also think that it's like, for me, I still want a coach to get more than just one season.
He had absolutely nothing to work with.
I think that.
Well,
Gardner
I mean,
Minshew is a reason to take a step back.
Well, but hold
Thank
on,
you.
but obviously, like, I thought Gardner Minshew would be better because of a Devontae Adams,
Well, you saw
which
that.
he lost after week 3,
I thought AP definitely had more to work with
week
than
5.
Gerard Mayo.
week 5. So I'm like, no, he definitely had more to work with. I'm not
Between
saying
Brock,
that-
Devontae.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I agree with you that his
don't have
wasn't
Max Crosby
as
or Christian
surprising
Wilkins on their line.
as Gerard Mayo's, but it's still surprising because at the end of the day, both of these coaches only got one full year.
But it's amazing how bare the offense looked once one person left the building.
For sure, because
Literally.
that was
He was
the main
gone,
guy.
and it was nothing. You
Yeah.
realize like they had no passing attack. They already couldn't run the football. Like it's just he had nothing to work with, and I'm just trying to figure out like okay what were the expectations in the building? Did they really expect to flirt with a playoff spot?
It felt
To
more
be in
like
this place?
Or considering the way they ended last season, yes, because they were like,
Bro, they had
and how they built
nothing.
in the offseason even. But I'm thinking like with the Patriots specifically, they went into the season with a plan. We're gonna start with Jacoby Brissett, build with Drake May. He's gonna come in later. Like it felt more like a long-term plan. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt more like a coach was gonna come in there and be able to build. With the Raiders, it did feel more like, all right, if we start winning now, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't feel like that with the Patriots.
yeah.
Who's the best player in the secondary on the Raiders?
This is Jack Jones.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to say, ain't nothing crazy. It's just
My
Jack.
gosh, like it's just he had nothing to work with. So
They lost their 2 best players from last year, offensively.
Yes.
So I don't know why there's any expectation. You lose Josh Jacobs, and then you lose 5 weeks
Devontae.
in. You trade. You don't lose him. You
trade
Devontae.
Devontae.
what did you expect?
So to me, I thought we were already giving up on the season.
Right.
As soon as we traded Devontae.
Right.
Yeah, because there's no
Right.
there's no expectation to win
Right.
once you trade your best
Right.
player like that, especially when you don't have a quarterback. That's a
Right.
game changer.
It's like, oh, we
And you
traded
just
him.
left him with Brock.
Right.
No
Yeah.
offense to Brock, but
I mean,
that's
look,
what you
and
left
at
me
that
with.
point, they
crazy
were like,
good tight end, but it's like he's still a rookie.
and
Like,
at that
Exactly.
point, they were like, man, we're still losing. This is wild. I
Yeah,
can't believe
like,
this.
who the-
What is going on in the building? We got to get rid of Antonio. Like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
so definitely not great in that aspect.
What
but
what also sucks is the fact that both Gerard Mayo and Antonio Pierce, the Raiders, the teams that got rid of them, the Patriots and Raiders respectively, have high draft picks and they also have plenty of cash this offseason. So these guys were not even given opportunities to
build
build
the
the
team.
roster the way they wanted to after just one season. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's the thing
terrible.
that I hate the most. Is like when you have the ability to build something, but you don't let the person, the architect, cook.
Yep.
Like you don't even give them enough ingredients in the first place, and then once you buy all the groceries, you're like, oh well, you know what? We're gonna find someone else to cook it. I'm like, but you didn't even
We're
give
going
me a
DoorDash
chance.
anyway.
Yeah, I'm like, but you didn't even give me a chance. Like,
Come on, bro.
give them a chance to at least make the team into what they believe the team should be. And if they fail at that, then cool. But I think that's one of the reasons why like it sucks where you just see a lot of head coaches, especially coaches, black coaches, where it's like you just don't get the opportunity to build something.
Yep.
You need to just either turn it around really quickly or you just weren't good enough to do so. And I think that's just so weird. And it's always the narrative of, oh, they just lost the locker room. Well, like, what are you supposed to do with that? Like, what type of, like, I feel like it's just such a cop-out sometimes because it's just, like, such a generic statement. Mm-hmm. Like, they lost the locker room. What does that
With
even
the
mean?
context, that's fair.
Like, what does that even mean? People just like, yeah, he's just not a good coach that's playing for them? Or, like, do they know they don't have pieces. They know that.
Yeah.
So, it's weird. But, you know, this is why I say with Dan Campbell and how they were able to let him build a team in his image and it ended up working and people were like, oh, well, why is Dan Campbell such a good coach? Man, we didn't believe it. It's like, bro, you gave them a chance to do it.
So many people forget the fact that in Dan Campbell's first year, they started 0-10-1.
Yes.
And ended the season 3-12? I think it was 3-12 or 3-13-1.
Something like 3-13-1. And then the next year, they started off.
They went 9-8. That's when they beat
No,
them.
but remember, they started off 1-7.
They did. They started off bad that year.
1-7
And turned it around.
and then they turned it around, and it's just
Yep.
like the one of the things that I'll never forget is the owner when they asked her about it, she was like I still believe in his vision.
him.
I still believe
And
that we can be a good football
He only
team.
had like 4 wins under his belt in a year
At
and
that
a half.
time, but
Yep.
you're like you can see what they're seeing.
Yep.
They're like, we're gonna give you the chance to build it, and things happen.
Yep.
So, just people just aren't they're not patient these days.
Yep.
They blame it on the young people, but it ain't.
This is true. All right. So now in other news, real quick, coaches who are being interviewed.
Guys are
names.
getting interviews already before the playoffs are even over. You know, speaking of Dan Campbell and the Lions, both his coordinators are getting vetted for jobs now. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. I believe Aaron Glenn recently just interviewed with the Saints. He interviewed with the Jets as well. Ben Johnson has had a couple interviews under his belt. I believe both of those guys are going to get poached, honestly, especially Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was a hot name
think
last
so, too.
year, and he
As long
ended
as he
up
wants to
going back.
leave.
As long as he wants to leave, right. So I think Dan Campbell, it's going to be interesting to see, like, okay, especially with the season that the the Lions are having now and facing the actual possibility of losing both their coordinators, what type of transition is that going to be for Dan Campbell? That's going to be a new phase.
You've seen what it did to the Eagles.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sirianni's had, what, 3 different offense coordinators the last
I think it's just 2. I think it was.
Because they added in like what Shane Steichen, like, so they were just like Shane Steichen. They had
Kellen Moore and Johnson.
Johnson,
as
yeah.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy's name? David Johnson.
Something from Utah. Yeah. But then DC's as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it looked. The coaching carousel is starting to get under the way.
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson.
That sounds right.
Black Monday was earlier this week, so everyone knows what Black Monday is. But the coaching carousel is getting underway. But it's starting to take off a little bit with the playoffs just now starting.
I thought it was interesting to think about certain cities requiring a certain style of football and what building a cold weather team has to be and what you can sacrifice in order to win games, whether it's not necessarily having a splashy quarterback and having a quarterback guy come into a situation where you really need to be more ground and pound, more physical, be able to compete in the cold type thing. I thought that conversation, I forgot who I was listening to talking about that, but hearing how certain coordinators can fit into more of a quarterback guy team versus a cold weather team, such as like a New York or a Chicago.
I don't get that.
I feel
I actually
it made sense to me.
Like think about it like how you would think of
The Steelers.
Hold on, not even that, but just in his own division. Do you think Tua would be more successful in Miami or in Buffalo?
Well, he's talking about coaches. I didn't know he was talking about players. Are you talking about coaches or
because
players?
he said
about?
no, because he was just saying how coaches would be able to pick the certain players for his culture, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
so even be able to coach certain players.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like as a coach, like you would
those are
rather
two
have.
elements, you're right.
But are we saying that I need a certain type of coach to coach? Okay, I'm confusing myself. Hold on.
Well,
Reel my brain in. All right. Are you saying that I need a certain style coach pending on the geography of where my team is? Because that is what I was taking away from this.
That was what I was saying.
Okay, and that's where I was like,
I thought he was saying that a certain coach would know that, picking certain players for my team depending on the weather.
That's
but that also feeds into that because, again, like you said, a Tua-type quarterback, you wouldn't get a Tua-type quarterback if you play in the cold.
Yeah,
right?
like if I'm in Buffalo,
that narrative does exist to an extent because, again, like I brought up the Steelers, like they're hard note, like they've always been known as
because
very
that's
physical.
Tomlin, but I don't think that's geography. I feel like Tomlin can do that
I think
anywhere.
it fits.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think it fits because that's kind of sort of how the Steelers and their culture is. It's always been that way, even before Tomlin. So they've always been like this physical, like we're gonna get at you,
like that.
And they don't
right.
Like Harbaugh would work.
Yeah, but I don't think that's because of geography. I think that you can have owners who are like, hey, this is the type of coach I want because this is the type of culture I want. But I don't think that is pendant on geography is what I'm saying.
That's fair.
That's the only thing. That's my only pushback because I'm like, I mean,
geography.
There are cold weather teams that are more finesse than people would want them to be. If the Bills were finesse for 3 years until they found a run game, it was just like, no, we just found a guy who could throw through the weather, so that's what we're going to continue to do. They didn't have that mentality.
When you guys finesse.
But I'm saying, we're talking about passing the ball.
Just passing the
You're
ball.
not like a run heavy.
You're not
team.
a run heavy.
But what I'm saying is like, if they didn't have a guy like Josh that could throw through the wind, the football team probably wouldn't be able to be a finesse team.
Correct.
Because they wouldn't have the capability to do so. Because
so I think personnel, I think there's a lot of things that matter, but I wouldn't look at a coach and be like, I don't think you're a right fit for this geography. Like, I would never do something like that.
No. It's less about that, more about like, okay, this guy I know is good with quarterbacks. But this style we need to play, I don't necessarily need a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, you know what I'm saying, someone who can just do magic. I can work with someone like a Baker-esque quarterback, you know what I'm saying, somewhere in that.
Like a Taylor Heineke.
No, God, no.
No?
Someone in that, you know what I'm saying, and build around that and have a different style. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was where I was coming from. Less about, like, a particular skill set with quarterback.
Like Alex Smith.
Why are you doing
Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Can't win with no Jimmy G. We're not doing this, but sure.
Dwayne Haskins, like those type of guys.
So it's just, why we
Because your tune showed their change when Jaden stepped in the building. Anyway, we can move on.
All right. Well, we are going.
Let me just ask. Do y'all think that?
Taylor Heineke was last year quarterback. I don't want to hear.
Do y'all think that the Cowboys blocking Mike McCarthy from interviewing with the Bears?
Childish.
Shady.
Hold on. But do y'all think that means that he's probably more than likely coming back to the Cowboys?
I don't know.
He has to.
Wasn't he supposed to reach in his?
I feel like that should be illegal.
When is his deadline for an extension? It's next week, right?
14th.
The deadline for an extension?
Yeah.
14th.
Like his contract
I'm about to
expired.
say-
His contract expired.
On the 16th. I think it's the 16th.
I thought it was this week.
No, it opens. I think it opens up. He can talk to other teams the 14th.
Yeah.
No.
Like, there's an exclusive window until the 14th.
No, but I'm saying, but his contract actually expires though. I think on the 16th.
No, it
I thought
expired,
it was this week. I thought it was this week.
Yeah.
Anyway, when it comes to
don't
that
know.
in particular,
Okay.
I
I
just
still have 6 more days. I
it's
thought that was
it's
free.
it's interesting to see how that played out because of how the season itself played out, where you felt as if the Cowboys were going in that direction that, hey, we might turn the page here. And then when the time presents itself to turn the page, Jerry Jones is like, no, I'm good. You're
Just
fine.
why?
Just
What
like why? I don't know. It feels a little shady, but it also feels a little indecisive.
What changes about Mike McCarthy's standpoint?
Hold on, real quick. So, Mike McCarthy being able to interview next week after June 14th.
Yes.
January.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Jan-
January
yeah.
14th.
January, June, it's the same thing, right? No,
It
it's
just took the U and the A because it just says Jan. So, you know what I mean?
Can't tell
I
the
just
difference
took out the
between the
A,
U and
but the U. You know.
Sure.
Anywho,
I guess.
not.
So
Right, I'm just saying.
it's weird because if like you would have known if you wanted Mike McCarthy by now. Nothing changed over the course of the last couple days.
Speaking of coaches that lost their locker room,
Oh well.
So I didn't get that feeling.
Nah,
I
yeah, I
did
don't
and
think
I didn't.
I don't think he lost the locker room.
I didn't.
I think the one thing with Mike McCarthy is they were like, oh, they were losing, and everybody's like, dog, like this sucks.
we suck.
No, then all
Not
of a
this
sudden,
sucks. We
but
suck.
then hold on, but then all of a sudden injuries happen. They fight their way back into being in playoff contention for a few weeks, where it's like, okay, they're not dead. Then they got to be dead, but it just seemed like they were still fighting because they had the win over the Bucks, and everybody's like, "Oh, you know what? This team ain't giving up on the season." So then it makes people think that
That was around
well,
the time where I was feeling
yeah, I'm saying. So it's like at that point you're like, maybe the locker room still.
They
were
got some
fighting
fight
for
in
it.
them.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like
Still got a little fire.
if Mike McCarthy's leading the charge, they're like, well, you know what? Maybe just maybe. Now for me, I always thought that.
maybe just maybe.
I thought that
Yeah,
they
just like the
should have.
Bengals.
Yeah. Basically,
they had a chance.
They just
the
needed
Cowboys
some,
were done.
They just needed some things to happen.
You
that's
know what
all.
jump
That's
start?
it. They
Wait,
just
hold
needed
on.
some things to happen.
You know what that jump
Couple things.
what jump started that Bengals chance? Beating Mike McCarthy in Dallas on Monday night. Just saying. Thank you.
Yeah,
Go
with
ahead,
Cooper
continue.
Rush.
Hey,
But anyway.
look, a dub's a dub.
But
okay?
anyways,
Yeah,
so I just think that like for me personally, I
think
thought they
another
should have got
Monday
rid
night
of
game
him
if the Bengals could've won this
after the
season.
Packers lost, but because they didn't, I think it gave him a window to convince Jerry, and I think he's probably convincing Jerry right now that hey,
Is he?
Jerry's not hard to convince. So yeah, I think so.
It's just weird. I don't like the timing, but it did feel like there was a change because of the fight. Like you seen when the Saints got slaughtered. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt like, all right, Dennis Allen gonna be gone. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't feel like the Cowboys lost that fire. And even with Micah having a little podcast thing and being honest, and Dak not top 5
Yes.
in this thing, and then Mike McCarthy don't deserve this before this person, and all of that. Like it felt at that particular point in time that, a little
Yeah,
shaky.
there was-
But I think the fight in
In
them
the end
wanting
of the,
to
end of
play
the
for
season,
him.
yeah, because they were
felt
literally
different.
well, they were like 2-6 or something crazy, and then they ended up
2-7, I think.
yeah, and they
like
ended up finishing the season what at 8-9.
There was still a
So-
part of me. There was still a part of me
7-10.
that
7-10?
even at
Okay,
this
something
point,
like that.
even at this point,
Oh
after-
yeah, because they lost to y'all.
after the ending of the regular season, there was still a part of me that was wondering whether or not Mike McCarthy really wants to come back to this. Like this, the way everything has unfolded, like he's had 3 consecutive years of 12 wins, making to the playoffs, but he had that embarrassing loss to the Packers in the playoffs last year. He comes back, and the way that this season plays itself out, I don't know. Maybe Mike McCarthy is like, hey, do I really want this again?
I think one of the things is like he's gonna get to a point where do you want to keep the continuity of what you've had, or do you want to build something different?
But they've had no choice but to keep that continuity.
Well, I know, but he might like that. But what I'm saying is when it comes to the continuity of like, okay, I know this place, I know these players. Some people just don't want to build again. Because I mean, honestly, that's one of the reasons to me why he went to Dallas in the first place.
Well, I get that
because it wasn't something that needed to be built.
Right, I get that.
So,
but it's also the element of still having to deal with Jerry Jones.
No, for sure.
And everything that comes with being a Cowboys head coach.
Yeah. And that's why it's just like, which one does he take more?
Right.
Would he rather just keep what's already been built and just refine it?
Right.
Or actually take something and build it up into what he wants it to
Not
be?
much more building he can really do with that roster, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. He just has to refine. He can't build anything more.
All right. With that being said,
Playoffs.
Let's talk about teams that ain't in the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Let's talk about it. We got
Playoffs.
Saturday, 4:30. The 4 at the 5. Sorry, 5 at the 4. Chargers at Texans.
You know what's funny about that game? I seen a tweet that said that every Texans playoff game in the wild card weekend has been Saturday at 4:30 Eastern time. Every game that they
That's
had.
their fault.
Maybe that's the thing.
I mean, I ain't mad at it.
It's
You
a
know what I'm saying?
scheduler's thing.
That's their fault.
The schedule
That's their
say
fault.
this is you guys do well here.
Yeah, they say
Or maybe you don't do well anywhere
That's their
else.
fault.
They said
They
they're a Saturday
just always
team,
a 4
basically.
seed.
Saturday
or a 3
team.
seed.
Yeah,
3
that's
seed,
what you're
4
to say.
seed.
It seemed like they're a 4 seed every single year.
Yeah.
And they get the 5 seed. So I mean, this
The 4 and the 5 either play on Saturday. There's the 4 and 5. There's always a 4 and 5 team that plays Monday.
On Monday.
Yes, it doesn't matter which division, but clearly it's
They just
the
keep getting
NFC that keeps on doing the Monday
because
night.
you got the 14 win team.
But then again, though,
I'd
you
rather
usually
see
have the
Vikings
Cowboys or the Eagles
Yeah.
or a team that's like more high profile that they'll put on.
Yeah, the Cowboys, Bucks. Was
Because
on
the
Monday
4 and
night
5
last
don't
year, I
they
think.
don't affect anything for the most part as far as the bracket, no matter which one wins.
We all had really high expectations for the Texans coming into the season. And we also saw how different they look once the injuries started to pile up, especially with losing Stephon Diggs.
Oh, I thought you were going to say after C.J. Stroud tried to sign Caleb Williams. I thought that's what you were going to say, but never mind. Go ahead. In the post game, he was like, yeah, come here. You know what I'm saying?
We didn't try to sun him.
That was
we tried
like
to
week-
give you advice.
That was
always
week
annoyed
2.
me. And that always annoyed me.
Yes, it was when the Bears and
I did
Texans.
not
Yeah,
try
that
to
was
sun
week
you.
It was week 2.
Son,
You
it felt-
you
it
literally
felt
just
more
said
like,
the word son you.
Yeah, like big dog. I'm big dog. You gonna be big dog.
I mean, he
So
was
that's what it
big
felt
dog.
like.
At the
That's what
time,
it
he
felt
was
like.
big dog.
That was 4 months ago.
Honestly, he wasn't even. He gave
on.
me words of encouragement
That's
or
what I'm saying.
advice. I'm like, Caleb, go somewhere.
Yeah.
Go somewhere with your foolishness.
Anyway, as I was mentioning, I just
Okay.
I don't I feel bad because I don't think this is a good matchup for this Texans team right now, given especially the way that they
was
played
week
off.
2.
We tried to tell you, especially the way that they've been playing
Try to tell
offensively.
me the Bengals gonna make the playoffs too.
Can he finish a sentence?
I don't need to finish my sentences. But it's neither here nor there. Go ahead. I had some good water.
The Chargers are catching the Texans at the right time right now. I really like this run game. I really like the way the Chargers defenses have been playing as of late. They're really good at creating takeaways, and this just seems like a game where they're catching the Texans at the right time. So I like the Chargers in this one.
Their style of play is built for the playoffs too.
Yep.
So everything that you said is correct for the most part. This is like the only way I see the Chargers losing this game is if Herbert just
Stinks it up.
because and I don't want to we've only had that one sample size of him being in the playoffs, but it's just that we were at a point in that game where they were just like, but there's no way this team loses.
Are we willing to give the benefit of the doubt because of the head coaching styles?
No.
Like that was, but this is a Harbaugh who doesn't have a track record of losing that in a
And a
playoff.
For
Herbert that's
sure.
only thrown 3 picks this year.
No, for sure. But at the end of the day, I don't even think he threw a hella picks in that game. They just had a whole lot of 3 and outs.
They just folded.
to where the Jaguars came back. So I'm like, it's not really the fact of he just ended up giving the game away.
Can't sustain drives.
He just couldn't sustain
Yeah.
drives. And that's
I don't
actually,
remember what that was on.
And that's actually been a thing for him a little bit this season. Because remember against the Bengals, where they were up by 3 scores, and all of a sudden, Bengals came back. Why? Because the Chargers, for
that
some
Monday night
reason,
too?
huh?
Was that Monday?
Joe Shiesty guy?
I think it was a Monday night. It was either Monday night or a Thursday night. It was something
Monday.
like that. But either way, it's
I do
like
know what you're
they
talking
couldn't sustain drives anymore in the second half. All of a sudden, the Bengals came back, and yeah, they ended up pulling it out in the end. But it's
Joe
like,
Burrow guy,
it kind of just showed that sometimes
Not going
when
down
Herbert
without
has a lead, like, they
going down
just
without fight.
blow it. Because he just starts missing, like, open throws that he was making earlier in the game. And now all of a sudden, you get these 3 and outs. The other team's able to come back. Now it's just like more pressure on you. And I think that's why they lost that playoff game against the Jags, because it's just more pressure when you do that in a playoff game than it is in the regular season. No,
I think
for
you
sure.
learn from that and you grow from that.
Only you
Only
just gotta play the
time
game.
will
Like
tell.
I'm
Like, again,
picking the Chargers to win that game. I'm just saying like that would be my only reservation for the Chargers. would be my only reservation for the Chargers.
The other thing, Joe Mixon was having a phenomenal season. He kind of just fell off. Like the Texans can have a style of play as well where they're in control of the clock and feeding the best
I don't really
player
think
that
he.
they've had on offense.
I'm about to say, I don't really think he
Nico
fell
Collins
off.
is
I
probably
think
arguably
he was
their most-
injured. So he missed some games.
He wasn't healthy. He wasn't healthy.
I know he rolled his
Yeah,
ankle
but
early
he
in the
got
season
injured
and came
again
back.
and was out. So that's why I'm like he still got 1,000 yards, even though he probably played like 13 games. So he was still like he still had a great season in terms of just like average and stuff like that. It's just that he just kind of was out of sight, out of mind, especially when they were losing. And
Do y'all feel like he's healthy now?
look, he gonna play. Yeah, he gonna play. That's a,
Healthy
but I mean,
enough.
the thing is,
Ain't got no choice. They need him on
look,
offense.
it's the same
We know
thing
he's
with
gonna play,
J.K.
but
Dobbins.
like-
J.K. Dobbins is also in the same situation where he missed some games, but he had a good run of running the football when they needed him when he was available. So that's what I'm saying. Like both of these teams, to me, are actually evenly matched in terms of offensively. Because I mean, the Chargers, you're really just scared of Lamar Jackson, but then with the Texans, you have Nico Collins, because obviously Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs are out. But, you know, running back wise with Mixon and Dobbins, they've both been good in terms of averages for when they did play. Their averages are good. Both these quarterbacks haven't really lit it up. But the difference is C.J. Stroud has been more turnover prone than Justin Herbert. Excuse me, that would be probably like what changes the game. It's just like who can force the other team to either commit turnovers or like not sustain drives.
Real quickly, X Factor.
Lad.
I got an X Factor.
Lad.
I think mine would be Joe
That's
Mixon.
fair.
A
I think
player,
mine would be Joe Mixon.
Nico.
Yes.
Because Nico Collins starts like if he starts
Just a
making
big
big
play.
plays, now they got to focus on him. Then this opens it up more for Joe Mixon.
45-yard catch here.
Now all of a sudden you don't know what to stop.
I'm gonna say Derwin. With the penchant for Stroud having these turnovers this year, Derwin always finds himself in the right place at the right time when it comes to that. And I feel like if he has
It's gonna be a big game for him.
yeah, if he has a big game.
Now the crazy thing is,
Typically hurt by
both
this time of
these
season.
teams weren't that good playing teams above 500. Chargers were 3-6 against teams.
Somebody gotta win.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Somebody
Somebody
gotta
got to win.
win. Ain't no ties no more.
Somebody give. Ain't
I
no
mean,
ties
the
in the playoffs, bro.
Chargers 3-6 against teams over 500, and the Texans were 1-5. Yeah, their only win was against the Bills, and the Bills won the Bills.
Next.
We got a guy,
Next.
Harbaugh, loves football and everything. I like the combo there. Did we all? Oh, I got the Chargers. Who you got one there?
Chargers.
Yeah.
You guys said it last.
Clean sweep.
That's my upset.
Wow.
That's my upset.
That'd be my.
That's my. If I had to choose an upset, that'd be my upset.
Yeah,
Even
but it's
though
like
not
seeding
on the paper,
upset.
right?
Yeah, they're
So then,
favored.
never mind. Seeding upset,
Yeah.
but in reality, no, not an upset. And then moving
always pick the
on
Commanders.
to the
Steelers at Ravens is where we're going.
Steelers at Ravens is where we're going next. We'll get to you.
I know.
Steelers at
Got no
Ravens,
choice.
8 p.m.
You got something to say?
after the Chargers game.
I don't.
I
don't.
Big game. This game
could
could be
be.
an upset as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Zay?
even think Zay's
No
as
Zay.
big of a factor, but
Y'all joking, right? Y'all joking, right?
About the Ravens Steelers?
It's a
About just
potential,
being
yeah.
upset, but like, seriously.
Oh, you think the Ravens gonna slaughter them?
You seen that Steelers offense?
But
They can't
that's
put
the
up
thing,
14
though.
games.
Yeah,
They
if
don't have to.
They can win that game.
The Ravens don't have. The
They
Ravens
can win that game 13-9.
The Ravens can win that game 17-7.
Steelers can win it 13-9.
So aside
But
from
the
the
Steelers can win it 13-9.
aside from the last game that they played, the Ravens don't be putting up more than like
the Ravens haven't put
I
up
don't
more
love
than
this.
21 versus
I don't
Steelers.
love this. I don't love this. I feel like this Arthur Smith offense has hit a wall, and Marcus and I both know after having to experience this for 3 years, when this offense is stale, it ain't going nowhere. It's stagnant. It's stuck in the mud. Okay, there's no adjustments to make with that offense. They already are very limited in the passing game when it comes to it. You already pretty much know what the run aspects of it and what the run fits and things like that are going to look like. This is not a good time right now for them to be playing the Ravens.
So this last game for the Ravens was the first time they scored over 19 points against the Steelers since November 1st, 2020.
They may not even.
well,
need
but
19.
see, but that's where I'm like, this game. If the Steelers, I think there's two things. The Steelers, for one, have to be able to stop the run. And then two is they're going to have to create big plays on defense and special teams, which I think is possible. Yeah, I'm saying they are capable things because for one, you have a guy like T.J. Watt that I think he's one of the leaders in forced fumbles this season. So I'm like, if you can get a guy like him to be able to force some turnovers. We know Chris Boswell can kick field goals. I think in the first matchup, they beat them mostly off of field goals. Yeah, so I'm like, I think that would kind of be their key to winning because we've seen it happen over and over again before the Ravens got that first win against them in a while, a few weeks ago, is that's how they've been winning these kind of games. So if they make the Ravens and Lamar Jackson fall into that trap of not being able to run the football and getting away from running the football, while also making it to where it's like it's easier for T.J. Watt to do what he does, they can definitely win that game. I'm not going to pick them to win this game, but I would not be surprised if the Steelers did it just based off of what we've seen in the past for what they do to the Ravens, like just in general.
To me, without Zay,
In games,
without Zay, that's an impact.
it is. Who you scared of?
Well, so I think it's like it's not really about who you're scared of because even with Zay, like I don't think people. I'm saying nobody's scared of Zay.
But
Yeah,
he's
he's a threat. But what I say is like if they're able to run the ball, like their wide receivers will be able to be open at some point because you still have Mark Andrews. Rashad Bateman has played well. Like we've seen Tylan Wallace step up before when they've needed him, and I think that if they're able to run the football, it creates a mismatches to where they're like, okay, somebody's going to get open because guys going to be so worried about the run that a double move here or just a good route here, and it's like you're just able to get open.
And you say that like Lamar's hit the
That what?
But it doesn't even.
You say that like Lamar is just going to hit him. We haven't seen that in the playoffs.
No,
There's
but I'm
been
saying,
year after year.
he had
been disappointed.
hold on, but he had 200 yards
to his
and
point,
four
but to his
touchdowns
point,
last week. But they were able to run the football, which is why I say they're able to run the football. This is when Lamar is able to be good because when they have flamed out in the playoffs, what is one of the key things for the Ravens is they're not able to run the football.
But to his point, and it doesn't even have to be the Ravens getting 5-6 yards a pop. It just has to be effective enough. The Bengals in the season finale were trying to get something going with the run game. It wasn't working, of course, which is why Burrow had 40-plus throws. But I'm thinking defensively in this particular matchup here. I also saw that offensive line in Pittsburgh, man, they couldn't block a soul. Russell was not comfortable at all in that season finale against the Bengals. He was not comfortable at all. The little bit of reads that he did have, he didn't even have really time to make those. And I think against a Ravens defense like this, when you got a Kyle Hamilton on the back end, you got a Marlon Humphrey that's playing well on the back end, you got a Nick Wiggins that's giving you some juice as well on the back end. I just think that Ravens defense is going to show up, and they're going to make some plays, and the Ravens are going to win. a defensive slugfest.
This Slick could be a good.
Yeah, I'm
likely
about to say,
game,
like, they have weapons. That's what
It's
I'm
probably
saying.
gonna
They're
have
able
to
to run
be.
the football. It just sets it up way more for
probably
everybody
gonna
else.
They doubled Derrick Henry's touches from the first game.
If
to
they
the
can
second
run the
game.
football,
So if they can,
Man, which they could have won that first game if they would have
that
had
2-point
Henry in the
conversion,
game. For that 2, but they didn't even have him in the game for that.
because it's like, if
Which is
anything,
so
he can be a
odd.
hopefully they learn that
decoy
lesson.
for whoever else. But it's like
Exactly.
when you're faking it, giving it to Justice Hill, you're like, nobody's worried about Justice Hill. So it's
nobody's
just like,
Nobody's going.
The thing is, though, you only listed TJ. Having Cam and Alex Highsmith
but the reason why I listen to TJ is because he's the one that yes.
the turnover specifically. But even when it comes to stopping drives,
Plus he
Cam
hasn't
always
practiced
messing
for a
things
few
up.
days.
Whether it's batted balls, whether it's getting
Supposedly
through.
so.
Even when you think about the last game that the Steelers-Ravens played, Lamar threw that pick, and the Steelers had an opportunity to go down and
did.
score. And I think Russ threw a pick.
Yeah, I mean they were down by 7, and then the pick 6 made it before they were down by 14.
And he also had a fumble.
And he had to fumble. My thing is it really just going to come down to the Steelers' offense. I don't think that whatever the Ravens are doing in terms of their run, they're going to be able to control the ball more. But the Steelers in these games inevitably force turnovers and make Lamar uncomfy. English is a stupid language. I feel as though whenever these two teams play, this is what you expect. We just seen this was the first time the Ravens scored more than 19 points in 4 years. Like, these games are low scoring. It's 16-19, 18-16. That's what these games are.
It's all about
20-19,
physicality.
like, that's what it looks like. And the Steelers always meet that mark. It's just going to come down. Their offense has been cold over the last couple weeks. Najee's he's got his 1,000 yards, even though that's becoming less of a novelty these days. But they was able to feel like he was making an impact. We haven't called him running in denim jeans. You know what I'm saying?
George can't catch
Yeah, I know.
And
what's going on with
and he
that?
been complaining, yeah. So that element of it, them coming into the playoffs cold, that's why I'm picking the Ravens. I don't think that it's gonna be like a Ravens bashing by any stretch, but I feel like because of the way the Steelers' offenses look, and specifically George Pickens not having that number one receiver mentality and being able to respond to adversity like a grown-up, I think that's what's gonna hold them back, and they're gonna lose this game.
So, I'm choosing the.
I'm choosing the Ravens, but again,
It is an upset alert.
it is an upset alert.
Yeah,
That's-
I think it should.
It is an upset
I
alert.
feel
That's
anybody
and I feel this way about anybody who's facing
like
a
if the
divisional
Chargers,
level.
if the Chargers win,
Like if
go
the
on-
Chargers win and go on to play the Chiefs next week,
Now I'm still
upset
taking
alert.
the Chiefs,
Now I'm still taking the Chiefs,
but I just
I don't know.
mess
but
with
I just don't like. I don't mess with divisional opponents
No,
in
that-
the
that-
playoffs.
I wouldn't.
like
I
you
wouldn't
say
say
upset
that
alert, you might as well
because
just take it.
Herbert's got shown.
Well, if he makes it there, then I'm assuming that he.
Well,
showed
if he
us.
makes it there, then I'm assuming that he showed us.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. In order for him to do that,
That's what I'm saying. In order for him to do that, you must show
him having a good game?
I just like the element.
I don't think he has to have a good game
Yeah.
to be the
I
Texans.
just like the element. I think in that aspect, I just like the element of having a head coach on the
No,
sideline
for
like
sure,
Jim
for
Harbaugh.
sure.
In the postseason, like now, with all the postseason.
But as good as
players
he
that
is,
has, like it's not just Andy Reid being the best coach with the deepest postseason run now. Like Jim Harbaugh has some juice.
he's still not on the
he
same
he
level
has
as
some
Andy
notches on
I
his
get that, but
belt.
I'm saying like I'm not gonna.
No, I get that, but I'm saying like I'm not gonna look. It's not a clear mismatch like a lot of these games are in terms of coaching. Like Jim Harbaugh has some pedigree. Man. Like he can win some.
damn.
He can win some
a lot of
playoff
pedigree.
games on his
Being
own.
John
in my
Harbaugh,
opinion. So
he's just
I
another
get
guy.
it,
Just
but
another
he's
guy
just-
that. No, John Harbaugh, like another guy that's been accomplished. That's what I'm saying.
In the event, real quick,
in the event, real quick, in the event that it is an upset,
what are we talking about on Monday?
what are we talking about on Monday? What are we talking about on Monday about Lamar
Oh, we
and the
talking.
Ravens?
All I know is that Ravens fans better not say.
All I know is that Ravens fans better not say not diddly to me about Lamar. I was with y'all all last year. Lamar is right behind Patty. He gonna get it. This was the year. Home
The
field.
to me, at least from me, the message is you put up the historic season that you put up,
Offense
and you couldn't beat an offense
that has been stale
like this
for the last
that
month.
has been stale for the last month
The excuse gonna be it's the divisional opponent that plays
at
him.
home.
Twice already.
and you've played them twice already?
Like it's
So
going to
34
be
last
damaging for sure. I think that for me, it's so tough because he would still be an elite quarterback to me. I think there's no question about that. But
Congratulations on that MVP.
but I
Congratulations on
would
the
definitely
MVP
say
award.
that when it comes to the top four and how we rank them, it'd be a conversation about who is third or fourth, because you would either have to say yes, because it would either have to you either say what would you rather have, somebody that misses the playoffs more, or somebody that makes the playoffs continuously but just underperforms in said setting.
With 3 MVPs and no
With 3 MVPs
So, yeah,
and no
so-
Super Bowl appearances.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying
People
I'm just
assuming
saying
this
if he
man is
does.
good.
I'm just saying if he does. I'm just saying if he does. Because I'm not even gonna lie. I love Lamar. I love his game. I love what he does. I'm ready to put him in that Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he can't even be Aaron
You got all
Rodgers
these
if he can't get a
MVP
Super Bowl.
awards.
But that's what I'm saying.
can't.
Like,
can't.
that's what I'm saying. Like you have all these MVP awards and you don't have
Yeah,
much to
yeah,
show
in that
for
respect,
it. That's the
I mean,
thing.
I mean, it would basically be like well, no, John Elway was even a little bit more accomplished in the playoffs. He just couldn't win the Super Bowl until the last 2 years of his career.
All right, we gotta move on.
Yeah.
Still got 4 games to talk about.
1 o'clock.
Sunday, 1 o'clock.
All right.
Broncos at Bills.
All right. What you think, big
90%
dog?
confident.
How you feeling?
I'm 90% confident the Bills are gonna win.
Uncertain.
I'm 10% uncertain
The way to
because
you have
the way to beat the Bills, if you have the capability,
pass
is
rush and
pass rush,
be able to
and
be man-to-man coverage.
be able to be in
Those are the
man-to-man
two things.
coverage.
You can
Those
get
are the
to
two
Josh
things. If
before
you
his wide
can
receivers
get to
create
Josh
some sort of
before his wide
separation,
receivers can create some
that's
sort of
how the Ravens beat
separation,
them.
it's a wrap. And that's how the Ravens beat them. That's how
It's not how the
the
Rams beat
Texans
them.
beat
They
them.
just
That's not how the
went in a
Rams beat them.
shootout, but
They just
The Broncos ain't
went
gonna
in a
go in a
shootout.
shootout
But
against the Bills.
the Broncos ain't gonna go in a
So,
shootout against the Bills
it's
and
really
hope to
gonna
win.
come down
So
to
it's really going to come down to can the weaponry do what they're supposed to do. I think the defense should be good enough in this game. I'm not too deeply worried about it. I'm more worried about, hey, can you guys get open quick enough, because this is a vaunted pass rush group.
And having Pastor's hand on the back end.
Excluding you, if the Bills lose, what's the message?
In terms of
It
Josh
would-
Allen's brand.
In terms of Josh Allen's brand, it would be in the gutter. It would. I feel like your quarterback's playoff numbers speak for themselves up until this point. All the losses have not been on Josh. I don't think that we can say that about some
Yeah,
of the
all
other
of them have
quarterbacks
not.
that we have mentioned. And you can place more of the blame. But with Josh,
Even if he plays well.
you can't
He's
really
only
blame
had a
him.
few
Even if he
lost
plays
downs.
well,
Just a few.
not even just him, but even if he plays
In the
well,
playoffs?
hold on, but
Yeah, I'm about to
But-
say he does
but-
have a few.
the Bengals lost.
Oh, my bad. You're
But
right.
even
been-
if he plays
been
well,
That and the Jets.
And the Texans lost.
even
Yeah,
if
yeah,
he
yeah.
plays well and they still lose, like, what does that
now
say
I'm
about
in.
the Bills?
I'm all in.
Oh, now I'm in.
What does it
I'm
say
all
about
in on
the
this
Bills?
conversation. What does it say about the Bills?
At home to Bo Nix.
Losing at home
And the
to
Broncos,
Bo
a team
Nix,
that
It would
none
be-
of
and the
us
Broncos, a
thought
team
would
that
be
none of us thought would be sniffing the postseason.
People will
None
be
of us.
calling
and
for
rightfully
Sean
so,
McDermott.
right?
And rightfully so,
Really?
right?
Correct.
Okay.
No.
I don't know.
But like,
Losing
okay,
to
hold
Bo
on.
Nix? Losing to the
Make it
Broncos?
seem like when it comes to like, other than Patrick Mahomes, I feel like even Tom Brady has had a time where he lost to a team he shouldn't have. I.e., when he lost to the Jets. So it's just like,
The
you
Jets,
know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Mark Sanchez.
I don't want to say that just because this is the first time the Bills had lost to a team they really shouldn't have lost to, that should be the end-all be-all for Sean McDermott.
Oh my God.
I think it's more about how the conversation was shaped. Even last season, it felt like.
But like,
Sean McDermott
why?
was being
Like,
kinda
they
thrown
literally
in
won the division 5 straight years in a row.
And what's the show? At that point, I'm like, why?
It's a dangerous game.
It
if
is.
you look at look at the Jets, right? They
Fire Salah. And that
They fire Salah.
Yeah.
And that defense went
So
to hell
my thing is, okay,
immediately.
everybody
So my
talks
thing is,
about, yeah,
okay,
get rid of him, go
everybody
get
keeps
Ben
on talking
Johnson.
about, yeah, get rid of him, go get Ben Johnson.
Rookie head
So
coach.
now you want me to bring in
And
a
it-
rookie head
I'm-
coach?
And this
And the
defense is
expectation
gonna-
will still be the same.
It's not even just the defense. It's not the defense that I'm worried about. The entire
I'm
team.
like, okay, he
Because
kept them
I'm
disciplined,
like,
focused,
okay,
like,
he kept them
they
disciplined,
were on track,
focused,
they were
like
always winning double-digit
they
games.
were on
I'm
track.
like,
They were always
rookie
winning
head
double-digit
coach,
games.
he's
I'm
gonna have
like,
to go through his
a
own
rookie
growth.
head coach, he's gonna have to go through his own
So
growing
now I'm
pains.
sitting here like.
So
the
now I'm
worst that
sitting
we
here
sit and
like
talk about with Sean McDermott,
the worst that we
for
sit
the
here and
most
talk about
part,
with Sean
is
McDermott
coaching
for the
decisions.
most part is
in
coaching
people-
decisions.
in certain
Critical
high
moments.
level critical moments.
In certain
When I
high level
bring in a-
critical
if I bring
moments.
in a rookie,
When I bring in if I
I'm
bring in a
concerned about
rookie,
more than that now.
I'm concerned about more than that now.
Discipline, I'm concerned about.
I'm
guys
concerned
being
about
focused,
discipline. I'm concerned about guys
you
being
making the
focused. I'm
proper,
concerned about you making the
like you-
proper
changes.
Yeah,
uh,
it would be like,
changes.
is Josh
It's,
more of a coach on the
like-
field at that point?
So I just
How
think it's
I'm,
dangerous.
I'll be at a
If
point.
So
you
I just think it's
you gotta
dangerous.
sell me on
If
somebody
you
because
want to
can't-
do it, you
you
got to
gotta
sell me on somebody
You
because
need
it
to sell me
can't.
on somebody.
You're not gonna sell me
If
on a
Jim
rookie.
Harbaugh
You need to
was
sell
still
me
out
on
here,
somebody. If Jim Harbaugh was still out
and you were
here,
like, "Hey, yo, let's go." With
and you were like, "Hey, yo,
I'd be like,
let's
"Alright."
go to Jim,"
But you
I'd be like,
got
"All
Yeah,
right."
it's gotta.
I'll be-
But
I'll
you
be-
gotta
he ain't
sell
want no
me.
Mike
I'll be at a
McCarthy.
point. I'll be at a point. I'll be at a point, and no offense, and and of course I've always complimented your team, but
How can I take them serious? Because
how can I take them serious?
Oh, okay.
Because it went from
beat Pat
oh
in
okay,
Kansas
all right, they couldn't beat Pat in Kansas City.
Now we got
All right,
Pat
cool,
at home.
Cool. So now we got Pat at home. Damn, they can't beat Pat at home now.
They just can't
All
beat
right,
Pat.
all right,
Can't
cool,
beat Pat.
cool,
Let's see-
cool.
let's just
All
see
right,
if
we'll
they
let
can
that go.
avoid
They can't
Pat.
beat Pat. Let's just see if they can avoid Pat or whatever.
Home to-
Damn, now they lose at home to.
They're going backwards.
The Broncos.
What's the excuse?
They're going
now?
backwards.
What's the excuse now? Like they cannot afford a loss like this.
Building
But for the
on
record, I'm picking the Bills
But I'm
to
just
win
saying,
handedly.
in the event that they lose,
But I'm just saying, in the event that they lose,
It'll be the biggest upset of the year.
Yeah, it'll
it
be the
would
biggest
have
upset.
to
of the year.
be one of the biggest playoff upsets we've seen in a while.
But even thinking about what Cordell said in terms of what the Bills lost to earlier in the season and what had to happen, and adding the element of Sean Payton and what confidence he's put in that team to
You're
bring.
not winning a shootout.
Well, no,
I
I'm
understand.
glad.
I
I'm
don't care
glad
what
you added.
confidence he put in
I'm
there.
glad you added
If it's
that.
a shootout, it's not happening.
I'm glad you added that, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna add your context to it as well. But even in the season where you finally
even in
beat
the regular
Pat at
season. I
home,
know you said before. Like,
even in the regular
I
season,
know,
I
get
know
it.
you said before, like,
at home.
no, I know, I get it. What I'm saying, but you kind of felt that weight coming off your shoulders. Like, okay, we beat
Not
Pat
really.
at home in the regular
felt-
season.
They do that all the time.
I felt
Well, yes, but this was a new team.
well, yes, but this was a new team
Yeah, this
for
was a
me.
new team.
Without Diggs.
Okay,
Yes,
you
this
want
was
to say
a new
without
team.
this.
So I didn't know
Even
this
back
team.
end.
Pat at home without
I
Diggs.
didn't know
The,
this
the
team.
safeties and Trey too.
Yeah,
Everything was different.
and then you
Milano
do
was hurt,
that,
I think, that
only
game,
to
too.
lose in a wild card to the Broncos.
I honestly,
Bro,
I don't want
like,
to
that's
I honestly,
deflating.
I don't
I
want
don't want it for you.
I'm calling that.
I don't want it for you,
I'm
Mr.
calling
Rap.
that.
I don't want you to come to work. I would not want you to come to
calling
work.
that.
Please,
And
do
I'm
not.
probably deactivating socials.
As you should. As you
So I
should.
can.
That would be
mean,
such a disappointing loss.
We can knock out one of the black movies that we have on the list. We can do that.
Y'all
Look,
can
it would,
clear
it would
half
be,
that list on
it would
Monday.
be shocking for sure, but I don't think it would be a cause to fire anyone.
He may not get it, but you'll.
He may not get it, but you'll hear it
You'll
from
hear
the
it.
fan
It'll be
base.
loud. It'll be very loud.
It'll be loud.
And that's why I wouldn't even be able to tune
It may
in.
not happen.
And that's why I wouldn't be able to tune into
Yes.
Bill's radio.
But
I
they'll
mean,
be
yes,
coming with
but
pitchforks.
bro,
Yeah.
It's the story.
Yes.
It's I get it, but it's like, dog, bro, like everybody has these times where they just lose to somebody that they shouldn't have. Like it's just a part of football because it's only a one game, like for everything. We do.
But we know how this goes.
All right.
Hold on. Did we all pick
Packers
Bills?
at Eagles.
I thought we were all
Bills.
I thought we
you were
were
picking
all.
the biggest
Yeah.
upset.
Unless you were picking the biggest upset. Are you?
I just
Okay.
I just wanted to make
Moving
sure.
on.
What are we
that,
talking about?
Packers, Eagles.
I appreciate it. Go ahead.
I'm
Packers.
going Packers.
This is your upset.
Upset.
All right.
Yes.
This is
Right.
your
Right.
upset.
Yes.
All right.
Wouldn't be
I'm
the
going
biggest
Someone
upset
finally
those
chose the
Packers
upset.
over Cowboys last year?
That is the
Last
biggest
year?
upset of recent memory. To
That is the biggest
I don't
upset
know
of
if
recent
they're
memory
gonna
to this
choose
point,
that
but
over
I
this.
don't know if they're gonna choose that over this.
Because that was a clearly
Clearly, the
unproven
youngest
Packers
playoff team in history.
That-
Right. Like I know what this team.
No, no, no,
Right
no.
now,
I
like
picked
I know
them
what
to
this
win.
team
No,
is.
no.
now.
He's saying.
Yeah, like
We said
Oh,
that
the Broncos.
bigger
Yeah,
upset because
which one
them
would be a
they were
bigger
literally
upset?
the
Packers
youngest.
over the Cowboys last
They
year?
were literally the
Broncos
youngest team in
over the
playoff
Bills?
history.
Oh, it would definitely be the Broncos over the Bills
I think it would be Broncos over the Bills.
because of the same kind of reasoning too. Young
But hold on, but
team.
they're not. But they're not that.
First of all,
on the road.
I'll tell you what.
Like in terms of
No, I'll tell you what. So rookie, right? You have first of all, it's a rookie. Second of all, people hold Josh Allen to a high regard.
Then Dak Prescott.
So that immediately right there, those
the Broncos
two
had a better season
will
than
make it
the
a
Packers.
huge thing.
I understand.
and technically Jordan Love that was his first year starting.
But it was his first year starting, but you know he's been in for 4 years learning whatever have you.
And you know the Cowboys
And
ran in the playoffs.
people have their brand already with the Cowboys. This is what they do.
None of us truly felt the Cowboys can make a Super Bowl run. Some of us feel like, okay, the Bills, the Bills can make a run.
All right, so
if they
So
go back to
this,
the
yeah,
Packers.
so yeah, the Broncos,
bigger.
yeah, so
Yes.
Packers, Eagles.
Packers. I'm taking the Packers here. I don't trust the Eagles right now. I feel like we're one failed third down conversion away from AJ Brown slamming his helmet on the sideline and choking Nick Sirianni or somebody, and then all of a sudden it's going to hell.
That is absolutely the biggest concern about the Eagles. It's them imploding because they should win this game, and I'm picking them to win this game simply because they did meet up earlier in the year, and the Eagles' offensive line wasn't healthy. They got all the guys back now. They just lean on Saquon. Let Jalen Hurts be able to just be comfy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can put him at ease by utilizing Saquon, which they will do, and I think that they will do it well. So
I'm going Eagles. I had the Eagles as my Super Bowl pick, making it to the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna stick with that. And I think that I said before the season I thought they were gonna ride Saquon Barkley, and they have definitely rode Saquon Barkley. I told y'all he's gonna have a Christian McCaffrey-like season, which he has. Actually, better than that, to be honest with you. And I think that the one thing about this game though is not only can they use a lot of Saquon Barkley because the Packers do have a good run defense, but in the first matchup against with Jair Alexander, who's the Packers' best corner. Yeah, he's out now, but in that game, A.J. Brown had 200 yards. So I'm like, okay, if there's no Jair Alexander, I think A.J. Brown is going to have still a good game. And if they try and double him, that just leaves Devontae Smith to have a good game. So I'm like, either way, I feel like the Eagles will match up well with this Packers defense in some way, shape, or form. And then I also think that this Eagles defense is going to be able to stop Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs, especially because they're able to stop the run. And then also the fact that the injury that Jordan Love suffered last week, where it's just like he could barely kind of grip the football and stuff like that. I think it's just going to hurt them, and they're just not going to be as efficient as other games.
I think the run game gets going a little bit for the Packers, but I would keep an eye out for Tucker Kraft. I think he might be my X factor in this one because he's going to have to, with no Christian Watson, they're not going to really be able to stretch the field the way that they want. They still got Jaden Reed, they still got that Tavia Wicks. Those guys are still going to be able to make some plays here and there. But Tucker Kraft, I don't think he was really much of a factor in week one in the first matchup. So they have to game plan for that. Also, Edgerrin Cooper is another guy. Wasn't a factor in week one, but he's come on strong now for this Packers defense. So
I feel like it's going to have to be Josh Jacobs if the Packers win. My X factor for that reason would be Zach Bond. I feel like
him and Jalen Carter.
Hell of a year,
man, what?
Hell of a year, man.
All over the place. It's going to be on him. And even with Tucker Kraft, I don't know how Zach Bond's passing skills are. I ain't going to hold you. But I know that he be getting a lot of tackles. He be in the lanes. He be reading things.
They're my Super Bowl pick at this point.
Eagles. They're my Super Bowl pick at this point. So,
What was your Super Bowl pick in the game?
yeah, what was your Super Bowl pick?
Probably the Bears.
The lies.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of it. I feel like it may have been the Lions, but if it was, I'm hopping off of that. I don't think there's anybody else who I wasn't choosing between. I wasn't choosing the Cowboys.
Were you?
Unless I was crazy enough to do that.
Was it going with the Niners?
No, you know I don't go with Purdy.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Then what? You know that don't even sound like something.
Then what? You know that don't even sound like something I would say.
I can see him saying, yeah, after the Cowboys. I can see
I
that.
think I had Eagles Chiefs.
Yeah, I feel like maybe if I was feeling bold, I could have gone the Cowboys, but I don't know if I was feeling that bold that day.
I think I had Eagles Chiefs and the Chiefs winning again.
We'll see. We'll review all of this.
No, we will
Pro Bowl
not.
weekend.
No, we will not.
Oh, we
I know it's
The
painful.
three of y'all can do it.
I mean, you're
there
there
too.
too.
No, I ain't doing that.
Sunday night.
Last
I
game.
lost my predictions.
Sunday night. It's already recorded. Don't worry about it. Sunday night.
Internet
Sunday
Delete
night.
that episode.
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
night.
Sunday night.
Oh, who played on Sunday night?
The Bucks.
Hosting
The Bucks.
Hosting.
the Commanders.
The Bucks.
The goddamn Commanders.
Commanders.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Them NFV.
Yeah, the commies. The commies.
I'll
They
start
wild
this
card, but
off.
it's fine.
I'm gonna start this off because
Eventual NFC champs.
I'm taking the ups. This is my
the
upset.
I'm taking the ups. This is my
There are a lot of
upset. This is
upset
one that I'm
alerts.
actually taking. There are a lot of upset
I like that.
alerts.
Gross?
But this is the one that I'm choosing.
Not
as
the
the
upset.
upset for me.
I like that.
Okay, tell us why.
Can't even say
Oh,
why.
my bad. You
I can't even
like,
say why.
oh, I got excited. You ended your. I felt the pause. I was like, oh, I got you, big dog. I got you throwing that.
I'm
Ooh,
always thinking
So-
of
I'm
the oop, bud.
about to slam that hoe. What we talking
I
about?
think that I first of all,
that Baker had himself.
I think that Baker had himself a great year.
That's so nice.
I think he had himself a great freaking
And I think
year.
that's where it ends.
I do too.
And I think that's where it
Playoffs.
ends. I think we're going to the playoffs.
Cinderella story.
And
overturned.
Cinderella story turns into a pumpkin.
Damn. Okay.
Damn.
Wouldn't Washington be
Yeah.
a Cinderella story?
I think that Baker is a Cinderella story.
I think
Just
that
Baker. Just Baker's a Cinderella.
Baker is
story.
a Cinderella story.
Baker is a
How?
Cinderella story.
Brown, yeah,
From,
Number one pick,
him and
passed
the
out.
Brown, yet like
Gino, like,
him and
I feel
Darnold
like
to
their
me
stories
and Gino, like
are
I feel like their
Cinderella
stories
Commanders
are
drafted-
Cinderella
Baker's
stories.
outgrown
The Commanders
that.
drafted a rookie quarterback. Hold on. The Commanders drafted a rookie quarterback at 2 and overcame. They won.
I just don't
I
think.
think
I just don't think Baker's a Cinderella story only because he's won multiple times in the playoffs. Like he has actually competed well in the playoffs. Like nobody thinks that Baker is not a capable quarterback.
Haven't they won 4? The
Like-
Bucks have won 4 straight division titles.
Two of them were three of them were Baker.
I'm not trying to be
Yeah, three of them were Baker.
I'm not trying to be
Yeah, that's what I'm
disrespectful.
saying, like-
I'm trying not to be disrespectful here, but it's the
Hey,
AFC.
man, that's disrespectful.
That's like saying the AFC
That's
East.
disrespectful, man.
No, the AFC
Yeah,
East.
'cause
South.
the AFC,
Yeah.
the AFC East is a juggernaut.
Let me put it to you this
But
way.
they're not okay.
They're
Let me put it to you
winning
this
by-
way.
they have double-digit
They're
wins
winning by, but they have
in the AFC
double-digit
East,
wins
that champion.
in the
Bucks-
AFC East.
hold on,
that
hold on.
champion.
But
Bucks
hey,
are
but
winning.
hey,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
ain't nobody
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
else. But ain't
whoa,
nobody
whoa,
else.
whoa,
But ain't nobody else
But the
winning.
Bucks-
Ain't nobody else winning in
But
that
if
division.
it's 9 and 8, like that's not good enough.
No, but I'm saying like last year.
No, but
They were
I'm
what?
saying like last year
9 and 8?
They were
they
9
were
and 8.
what?
Right. Like,
9 and 8?
That's a wild card.
Hold on,
Right.
hold
Like,
on.
that's a
But did they
wild
win?
card.
But did they win in
hold on.
playoffs?
That's what I'm
But see,
saying.
but get
Okay, they won a playoff
But see,
game.
he's saying this.
I said I'm not
He's
trying to
saying
be
this.
disrespectful.
He's saying this, but the AFC East is so garbage that the division is wrapped up in November every
No,
single
it's
year.
because the other teams suck.
No, because the division is trash.
Also, your division is so good.
Yep.
That's why
Yep,
they
man.
not
Everybody losing against each
That's a
other.
fist fight. That's a fist fight.
So does that
Hey
mean
man, look.
So hold on. So does that mean that the Chiefs division, the AFC West, is trash because they only 15 and 1?
Yes.
They sold it up every
The
year.
Chiefs win it every. They sold it up every year.
So the Chargers.
Well, we did. Hold on. Well,
they trash?
well, we did say that they
Hold on,
have a
they
losing
trash?
record against 500 teams.
Trash.
So, yeah.
So they are trash.
Man, they're pretty cheap.
So they are trash.
So Texans are winning.
Nah, because the
Texans are
Texans are
winning.
even worse. They're 1-5 against good teams.
So what? There's only so.
I mean, look, bro. Like, I'm just telling you the record.
I'm going back.
I'm just
Anyway,
telling you the
I'm
record.
going back to. I'm about to come back. I don't think that Baker's gonna have this. I think he's gonna fall off.
Okay.
I think that
Is what I'm saying.
Jaden will out.
I think that Jaden will
Interesting.
outperform him.
I do as well. But
I do as well.
And it's not.
But
and for
And it's not. And for.
Let him
I know.
finish.
I'm trying to let you.
I know. I'm trying to let you finish. You're gonna be the finisher.
Yeah.
We all gonna go through. So you
Oh,
can't
I
sit
ain't
back.
going. Cause he gonna
All
take
right,
his
you
whole
gonna
time.
finish us
I'm gonna
off.
get some water.
You
Y'all
finish
do
it
that.
today.
You're absolutely right. I like that.
All right. So, yeah.
Y'all need water?
Thank you.
You thirsty?
I'll take
Thank you.
I'll take some.
All right, so yeah, I'm going. in
Don't
that
spit in my
direction.
cup either.
But I think it's gonna be.
That's only ghetto shit you do.
My X factor in this game is gonna be Jaden Daniels' legs. Personally, I think that is gonna be the X factor. I think him extending plays and getting first downs with his legs will be the key to it. He needs to be smart about it because if he gets hurt in this game, I'm gonna be mad.
I also think that. This is scary Terry's
Hey,
time
this is Scary Terry's time to shine.
Show me Scary Terry.
Well
Show
overdue.
me Scary Terry. It is time.
I mean, this secondary
I
is pretty
guess.
depleted. So
That's
I
why I
expect
said it's
him to
time
have
for you to shine.
That's why I said it's time for you to shine.
But it's
Take advantage, Terry.
But see, that's some BS that you sitting here saying, okay, now Terry, I need you to show yourself.
Show
Against some
yourself,
weak- against some
Terry.
weak secondary.
If you
We've been trying to tell you
Because
about him all
if
this time.
if you can't show yourself against this secondary, then
My
what do I expect?
My X factor is the Bucks run game. The Commanders have been able to give up some plays in the run game in recent weeks, and this is a Bucks team that, granted, they're in the playoffs because of Baker Mayfield. Like let's not fool around. He's been the catalyst.
But Bucky won it.
But that run game, it's not just it's him, Rashad White, but the way that they also utilize Sean Tucker as well. They can really hit you with the run game if they want to, and I think they're probably going to have to in this particular aspect. These teams played in week 1. There's no Chris Godwin this time around now. Jalen McMillan has definitely stepped up as a rookie receiver, but again, he's a rookie receiver in his first game. We'll see what we have with that. Of course, if you're looking for a nice in-game matchup, bro,
Again,
Mike Evans and Marshall Lattimore. You can't get no better than that. Okay, that's just two Negroes that don't like each other. Okay, that's gonna be some trash talk.
Hey, look, it's a boon. Hey, look,
Hey, you
it's
missed
a
me.
Boondocks episode.
You missed me.
Like, hey, man,
It's a Boondocks episode right there with those two. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
man, that's
one.
gonna be fun.
This is actually a tough one.
Wait, who are you taking?
Who are you taking?
This one's a tough one for me because, like, obviously, like the Bucks dominated the Commanders in Week 1, but you know it's Jaden Daniels' first game, so you know you don't really know what to expect. But when I look at it, I'm just like, dog, like the Commanders have definitely looked better, but like the Bucks still look good too. It's not that they've kind of fallen off even with the injuries that they've had. And so I'm going with the Bucks solely off of experience in the playoffs that Baker Mayfield has that Jaden Daniels doesn't. And it's not just the experience of just being in the playoffs, but he's actually won playoff games. So I'm just like, with that being the case, I'm just like, he's 1-2. He's 2-2. He's 2-2. So I'm just like, I feel like, okay, the guy is 2-2, and I think he's 2-0 in the wild card. We're in the wild card, so I'm just gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. That's all.
I also, now that I think about it,
Baker's legs are also an X factor.
Baker's legs
true.
are also an X factor.
That's true.
Because
it's not like he's about to scrape. He don't be.
It's not like he's about to straight. He don't be
But he is
running for no
excellent
yards.
for some reason.
But he is
Escaping
excellent for some reason. Escaping,
Improvising.
evading dangerous
That's
situations.
good on him. It's
So,
good on
and
him.
that's good on him.
I don't know
It's good
how
on
he
him. I
does
don't know how he does it, but he is very good at. He'll sit there and get bounced around in there, and then somehow pop out and go ahead and continue to extend that play. So I think those are the two things. And now, floor is yours.
Bring us home.
Bring us home.
One element that seems to get overlooked in all this always is the trenches. We have not had Tyler Biotic, our center, for the last couple weeks, and it's reflected in Jaden running around, trying to make sure that he's good and in good shape. I feel like one.
So he's your X factor.
You ever heard of Vita Vea?
That's a pretty
That guy's pretty good.
That's a pretty strong dude, but having our starting center back will help that. Our trenches with him and Sam Cosby. Let me tell you what that's. My X factor is just our ability to create first downs and get into a flow. We've had slow starts the last several weeks.
Stay on track.
Stay on track. We have been such a rhythm offense, such a matriculate the ball down the field, making sure getting players touches, getting first downs, getting Jaden the ball, getting Brian the ball, getting Perry the ball, getting Diamond the ball, making sure we stay in the flow of our offense. I feel like Tyler Biotic specifically helps with that because we have been having penalties on the offensive line, haven't been able to stay on track. I feel like this is the game when we get it back. This is the game where we're going to put up at least a couple touchdowns in the first half, and we're putting up at least 35 points. That's how I feel. I feel like Jaden Daniels, him being a rookie,
First game, 30.
I don't think first
game.
On the road.
Okay.
I feel like when I look at how this young man prepares, when I look at what
Young man.
this young man,
That's how you make you 30.
when I look
Got
at
you right there.
how
Even I don't say that.
throughout the course of the season, the game-winning drives that he's had, I believe he's had 4 game-winning drives. Even looking at college, going into Alabama, beating Bama at Bama. I know you don't care about that, but that's a lot of people that you're playing in front of. An environment where you hate it, you cuss, you know what I'm saying? Like, them Bama fans, they don't play.
Oh, this is
nothing about
different.
pissing
This is
the
different
tide.
now, though.
You
I
feel
see
me?
what you're saying,
But-
but NFL postseason is.
It's different. No, I'm saying in terms of checking the boxes. Jaden has checked the boxes. First Monday Night Football game, you've seen how he showed up.
He's not going to be afraid.
He's not going to be afraid. I don't think that. I think that he's ready for the moment. I think that our offense has shown that time and time again, shown that it's capable of putting up points. And I don't feel like this is any different. And I do think that Antoine Winfield not being out there is going to be a big part of that as well. So we get Tyler back. They don't have their best secondary player. Of course, it's still going to be tough. Still going to be a bunch of unknowns. But I'm confident that our offense is going to just outscore them.
Now, how good is that hamstring really for Marshawn? Because if he's out there just to be out there for the sake of him going up against Mike Evans, 'cause
Hatred is a powerful weapon.
there's a small part of me that feels like he's playing in this game only because
He's
Mike
like, I
Evans
gotta be
is-
out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be out there.
I mean, he does play Mike Evans really well. So it's just,
Oh, he does. But that's what I'm saying. Like, how good is that hamstring really? Because if it's not, in the event that it's not, I can see Mike Evans
Well,
going
if it's
for
not, he's not making
a buck 50.
Well, if it's not, he's not making it through the game.
No, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, if it's not,
I mean, even
No,
if
that's
he
what I'm
doesn't
saying,
make
but
it
I'm
to the
saying, like, if
game,
it's
who
not,
else
I
can
can-
guard
no,
Mike Evans?
Oh, yeah, no, that's what
I can see Mike. I can see
Mike Evans
It's not
had
like
a-
I'm saying Lattimore's going to be getting cooked.
I'm about to say,
saying
Mike
Lattimore's
Evans
not
had a
gonna
great
get-
game in
I
week
can,
one.
no, but I'm saying if he's
Lattimore's not there,
right, but I'm saying if Lattimore's not there, I can see Mike Evans going for a buck 50 in a couple
Basically what he did the first time.
I mean, yeah, our other corners are very
wrap it up
suspect.
there. We got into all the
All right,
games.
we're going to wrap it up there. We got into all the games except for the Monday night. Monday night we'll get into. We'll be back here to talk to you about that, plus the fallout of all of the games that were chosen here. Thank you all for joining us. Please like, subscribe, rate, review, share on our socials.
You said 30. What's the score? You said 35. 35 what?
Oh, I didn't say 35, huh?
I meant to say 30.
I wasn't. I meant to say 31. That was one. But I did say 35. I'm gonna stick with it. I'll say 38.
38.
38.
Okay.
27.
40 burger.
All right.
So, with that being said, please like, subscribe, rate,
We need
review.
to score on a touchdown on one of our first 2 drives.
Please like, subscribe, rate, review, share on our socials. Till next time, I am Cordell.
Eat, rock.
Deuce.
Be easy, be breezy, and
Take it
please
easy.
take it easy.
Please.
30.
Baker.
I am 28 years old. Don't let the hair follicles fool you.
Baker, please.
Please what?
For the love of God.
Please what?